Hello.
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 Can you believe it's December?
I cannot believe 2025, we bid you adieu.
Oh my gosh. And what a year.
Oh my
What a
God.
year.
Yeah, it's crazy. And we are gearing up for 2026.
Yes, we're going to do a 2026 overview today. And
Mhm.
if you thought 2025 was crazy, you just wait. You just
Yeah.
wait. We have a lot of exciting events, and it's hard to believe that last year was a preview of what's to
hmm
come.
Yeah. Um, I think, well, in your opinion, do you think this year is crazier than next year or just a continuation?
Nothing will surprise me anymore after this last year.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna get crazier.
same.
Hmm.
I think the United States as we know it is going to start to massively change.
I saw one of your notes about the IC in the United
hmm
States chart, and I was
hmm
like, oh,
And the
that
moon.
is such an important call out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to unpack that with you because this is shit's getting real.
Yeah. I told Stephanie in a text message like a couple of days ago, I haven't really been on Instagram and you haven't either, right?
Hmm.
And I was like, what a time to be alive. Like, what timeline is this?
So much because we're you were gathering news stories for this
hmm
podcast episode, and
hmm
yeah, because we haven't been scrolling on Instagram. You like went on to look up some stuff, and it's just like everything that happens within the span of a week. You're like, is this real?
Yeah.
How?
hmm
It's
So
real.
should we get through some of the November news first?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so at the top of the month, on November 2nd, we had a Venus in Libra square Jupiter in Cancer. And around on that day, about the RSF, the Rapid Support Forces, sieged Al Fashar in Sudan. And that is really when I noticed a lot of people starting to talk about Sudan, even though there's been an ongoing genocide there. There's been a stage 5 famine for the last like 3 or 4 years. But that seemed to have sparked some, social media wide awareness on Sudan. And I think what a lot of people didn't know is that the UAE basically steals all of the gold from Sudan. And in the 1970s, it was backed by the US and Western powers. So, yeah, did you know about Sudan before that day? Yeah, you did.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, once I started learning about Palestine, I started
Yeah.
learning about Sudan back in like 2023, but I think
Mhm.
so many people don't know about it and that the UAE funds the RSF
hmm
and they're the ones who supply the weapons to enact
hmm
this genocide. And it was such a brutal slaughter of people. You could see blood from space on
Yes.
Earth. There are photos. Um, it's horrifying, and I think the to your point, the Venus Jupiter square of this is like people recognizing and starting to talk about it and become more aware.
Mhm.
And the day prior, Venus was opposite Chiron. So there's also
Mhm.
that wounding there and that you know, that people have been ignoring. This
Yeah.
this genocide and humanitarian crisis is the biggest one in the world, right?
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I thought I had seen the worst atrocities on my cell phone for the last 2 years, and then to see the images, the video footage coming out of this, oh my gosh, it was just so hard to watch sometimes.
Yeah.
The most brutal, I don't even know what to call them. Like they would strap women with their arms like behind them off trees and like little kids. Oh, it was just really hard to watch. And you think that Venus in its domicile, right, square to exalted Jupiter in Cancer. I think that just again proves that just because it's a they're two benefics that can also manifest in ways that really breaks your heart.
Hmm.
So Free Sudan.
Yes.
And if we have any resources, we always put them in the show notes down below. I also thought what was interesting is that there was a interstellar object flying around space, like very close to Earth, most of November, called the Three Eye Atlas, and it's one of only three other interstellar objects that we've like known of, and nobody seemed to care.
What does this mean?
People were like, take me. Like it's basically an object from a different galaxy. It's
Is it
interstellar.
like a spaceship or something?
That's that's what they are not telling us. And like
Um,
the materials from this object are not normal. Like, and at first they thought it was a comet, but the tail would like go away. And usually when there's like a comet or an object in space, it gets pulled by the sun's orbit, like how all the other planets are in the solar system. But this was moving freely throughout our galaxy. So there are a lot of scientists, especially on TikTok, that are saying this was a spaceship, but NASA is like just saying, "Oh yeah, it's like a interstellar object."
oh my
And I
gosh.
was like, "Oh my gosh, it's us from the future." We're
Yes.
like, warning.
Hello.
Yeah,
Oh my
but I just thought it
gosh.
was so funny because like there's so much going down on Earth. Like there's so much happening here that people are like, that's like the least of our worries.
Yeah, it didn't even make it to my newsfeed, but my goodness, I'm so
Yeah.
interested in that.
I was so obsessed with it. And then the government shutdown continued until I think the middle of November, and it was affecting flights. Like the air traffic controllers weren't getting paid, so a lot of flights were getting canceled. People lost their SNAP benefits, right?
Yep.
Like there was a
Yep.
threat, but then yeah, okay, so people lost them, and so that felt very like Venus square Cancer as well, and also the upcoming full moon that we were gonna have like 3 days after November 2nd.
Yep.
And then November 4th, this was a big day. This was Mars and Sagittarius opposing Uranus and Gemini. And I think we even in the last forecast said that some people, like executives, TV executives, would get fired on this day. And 16 Vogue union staff members were laid off, most of whom were BIPOC women and trans people. And one of them being the political writer, right? Like,
Hmm.
hello. On the same day, I thought this was very poetic. Dick Cheney, who was the architect of the Iraq invasion that murdered a million Iraqis, died the same day Zohran Mamdani became the New York City mayor.
Amazing.
I know. I was like, whoa, that felt like some cycle ended.
Hmm.
Something
Hmm.
closed on that day.
The tide's returning.
hmm And I knew this was going to happen because I'm a Sagittarius rising and I'm going through my Uranus opposition, but so many people attacked me online for supporting Zohra Mamdani. And that is what prompted me to take a break off of social media because I was arguing with like random strangers.
Hmm.
It was so
Yeah.
literal.
Yeah. Yeah. But what a I mean, that is a beautiful expression of Mars opposite Uranus in Gemini too. It's like, um, on this axis that has to do Gemini, you think of as like your local community, your
hmm
environment, the people you interact with every
hmm
day. And then Sagittarius is like more worldly, right?
Yes.
So to have both of those forces present on that day.
Yes. Hopefully all of you made it through that day.
Mm.
Because the very next day there was a full moon in Taurus. And a federal judge ordered the Trump administration to fully fund SNAP benefits for November, which the administration had planned to partially fund due to the federal shutdown. And this U.S. district judge was John J. McConnell Jr. in Rhode Island. So thanks to him. And then,
That's
and I
so
thought,
full moon in Taurus.
right? I was
Yeah.
just, yeah, that's why I was like, wow, that is so on brand. Um, and I also thought that was very like, um, with Zohran Mamdani winning, also like a full moon moment for him because Taurus is his 10th house of his career because he's a Leo
Mm,
rising.
of course he
Yes.
is.
Yes, he's
No
a
wonder
Leo.
I love him. And I think we really talked about how that full moon in Taurus was one of the most beautiful full moons of the year. And we talked offline about how it really was this hope that we haven't felt
Hmm.
in so long,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Um, and I think that really came through that day.
Yes. Especially since he didn't take any pack money, which
Hmm.
I also felt like was very full moon in Taurus, very Mars Uranus opposition. But we'll see. We still have to hold these politicians accountable, and
Hmm.
one politician is not going to save us,
A thousand
people.
percent. Yeah.
So don't get your panties in a bunch.
We must burn it all down and
Yes.
rebuild. Yes.
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 This Mercury retrograde for me felt very wild. Remember when I said I don't mean to project and fearmonger?
It's so literal for you though. It's like lighting
Yeah.
up your chart. And I remember when we had them in Leo, I felt the same way. I was just like, "Oh my gosh."
Mm-hmm. Yes. And um, so these stories are kind of connected to the Mercury retrograde, but also just the transits that were going on. On November 11th, Paramount laid off 1,600 people, and that's like 3% of their organization. So
Ooh.
they're doing like a massive reorg where they laid off executives of like CBS, I think, and really like higher up people. They're like cutting all these people out. And I think we also predicted that, right, with all the oppositions to Uranus.
Mm-hmm.
The very next day, the Epstein emails were released. Did you see Bubba, the Bubba one?
Oh, of course I did. Yes.
Felt like that
And
was so Mercury in Scorpio.
it's so Mercury in Scorpio. I mean, or just Mercury retrograde. It was in
Retrograde,
Trump's
yeah.
fifth house, because it was still in
Yes,
Sagittarius at the time, but it
yes,
was in
yes,
his fifth house of sex, you know?
yes.
Um, and it just, yeah, I'm like, how is this not picking up more steam?
Mm-hmm.
Like I know it went viral on the internet, but it's kind of like the alien thing where people are like, ah, there's just so much to deal with, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, there was an abundance of information and
Yeah.
like stuff going around. And I thought Deepak Chopra's name being mentioned was also very Mercury and Sagittarius retrograde, because he's like a spiritual guru.
Can I tell you
And
something about
yes.
him in particular? So, over a year ago, I got an email from like a PR agency and they were like, we want you to eat or to interview Deepak Chopra.
Oh.
And yeah. And immediately like when I saw it in my inbox, I was like, it's a no. And I've never read anything, but I've never consumed any of his content. I knew he was like super famous. He has millions of followers. Um, but instantly my intuition was just like, no, something's off. It's not right. And then when I did
Mm,
like a little bit more digging, I like went to his page. I was like, well, does he talk about Palestine? And he
mm,
doesn't. And I was like, that seems really weird for like a spiritual person, in my
mm-hmm,
opinion, right?
mm-hmm,
Um, and yeah, anyways, just a little fun fact, like always listen to your intuition even when it doesn't feel like
mm-hmm.
it makes sense.
Everybody that I know who has had an interaction with him has had that same gut feeling about
Mm,
him.
mm,
Yeah. I also know a close friend who got an opportunity to like work with him, and it was an immediate no for her as well. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes. Ooh, that's creepy.
Well,
Um,
it's
he's a
creepy that
creep,
he appeared in, yeah, yeah.
literally. I also thought it was really interesting that Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is like who used to be like Donald Trump's biggest fan, now they were in this open feud and they're both Geminis.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I didn't know she was a Gemini. That's hilarious.
Um, and later on in the month, she finally like decides to resign from Congress, but this is when it starts, is during when the Mercury station's retrograde, and I was like, oh my gosh. And really what prompted her to split from Donald Trump was the Epstein emails
Hmm.
because she was on the side of the survivors. Around the same time, there was this TikTok social experiment done. I think I mentioned it to you about like this woman calling the churches
Hmm.
to see if they would donate baby formula. And I thought that was very Mercury retrograde and Sagittarius. All of these churches saying no.
Yeah.
What the heck is
Yes. Yes. Sagittarius has to do with like faith and religion
Mhm.
for anyone who doesn't know, but um it was so literal
It was
and
very literal. It was
and
exposing
not
essentially,
surprising.
not surprising, it was exposing the hypocrisy of the Christian church in these
Hmm.
mega churches too. Some of the churches were like smaller, but the mega churches saying no was really crazy to me.
Yep.
And then we had Jupiter stationing retrograde, and a bunch of like really sad stories were floating around. That went, throughout November, there was a grand water trine with the placements in Scorpio and Jupiter in Cancer and Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. And so there were typhoons in the Philippines, and their whole whereas a government is being exposed for negligence, like they are corrupt as well. They weren't using the funds to properly build the infrastructure for hurricanes and typhoons. And on November 11th, there was a Black woman who was being ignored by a nurse as she was having a baby. Like literally, she was like in labor, and the nurse was just like casually typing her. Did you see that on TikTok?
I did. There was actually, I think, 2 to 3 videos that came out around that time of like very similar um, instances. And like in one instance, the woman was turned away and she delivered in her car like 10 minutes
Wait,
later.
there were more than one woman.
Yes,
More
all
than
black
one.
women, all black women. Yep. Hmm.
So if you don't know, Jupiter in Cancer is like probably related to mothering, right? I would
Yeah.
say like babies, caring, mothering.
Hmm.
And so I just thought it was, again, Jupiter stationing retrograde in Cancer was exposing the medical racism that
Yep.
Black women experience when they're ignored. And that specific video I saw on TikTok, the woman gave birth to her son like 12 minutes later or something.
Yep.
Like she was literally, you could hear her screaming and like moving in her chair. I feel like she felt the baby coming out of
Oh,
her
it's so,
body.
watching that video, I was like, she's in so much pain. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
I
And
hope that nurse got fired.
I hope so too. Let's put that energy out there.
Yes. And I hope it wakes people up to medical racism and how, Black women are treated differently. And it
Yeah.
was just really like, I couldn't even believe I was watching this on social media. But at the same time, like, I'm glad that people are seeing this because people should know.
Yeah.
So these are news stories that are around the new moon in Scorpio, which was it was conjunct to Mercury cazimi, and Mercury was opposing Uranus. And on that day, the Department of Education, via the big beautiful bill, reclassified professions, meaning that these degrees don't count as professional degrees anymore, which to me is insane. Nursing, physicians, assistants, physical therapists, audiologists, architects, accountants, educators, social workers. That means that when people want to go, which are normally women, right? These are dominated by women fields, that they can't get financial support for going to school for these professions. And it's crazy that in one administration, your job essentially, which historically would give you job security, is not a profession anymore.
And it's going to affect the amount of people who pursue these professions because people won't be able to get loans. It's mostly going
Hmm.
to affect people of the global majority.
Hmm.
And it's also going to greatly impact the disabled community because look at all of these professions, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Um, it's so cruel. And that was a headline. There's always headlines in 2025 that where my jaw drops. Um, but I had to like refresh the page multiple times. I was like, that I'm like, what's the news source? What's the news source? This can't be real.
You almost can't believe it.
Mm-mm.
Like nursing?
Mm-hmm.
How is that not a professional job?
That shit is so hard.
I'm like, I'm like, Sarah, you're not a professional anymore. Sarah's my sister, she's a nurse. But yeah, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But again, I think more and more people are going to be awakened by this administration in ways that maybe they wouldn't have,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yep.
On November 23rd, Marjorie Taylor Greene she officially resigned from Congress, and her last day will be January 5th, which I thought was interesting because the open feud started during Mercury stationing retrograde, and at the Cazimi was like the midway point, and she's like, I'm done. So I thought that was interesting.
Mhm.
And I don't even know if I want to say this, but Kamala Harris, there were videos of her expressing her regret that she didn't push back more on Benjamin Netanyahu, and she's a Gemini rising, so Mercury is obviously like her chart ruler. So I think the Geminis and Sagittarian people were having a rough go at it during this retrograde.
Mm-hmm.
And then same day, Trump signs the bill to release the Epstein files.
Also one of those headlines where I'm like, how not necessarily the headline, but I'm like, how stupid are people going to be where they don't understand that they're redacting and taking him out
Hmm.
and taking Republicans out and taking certain people out? You know, why would he oppose it for so long? And then all of a
Hmm.
sudden he's like, okay, cool, let's release it.
Yeah. Isn't it called like release controlled like not opposition, but they're obviously doing that for a reason. Like
It's just so obvious.
they wouldn't be like,
Yes.
oh, here we are
So,
implicated in these documents.
right. So I'm just so curious to see, you know, what does the right end up thinking like when it does come out like they're like oh see he wasn't in there after all or are they going to be like this smells like a conspiracy you know
Yeah. Yeah. You
we'll see.
know, the literacy rate of the average US American is so low that I think we just have to accept the fact that people are dumb. I'm
Fair.
sorry to say that because I mean that sounds really elitist, but people are reading at like a sixth grade reading level, apparently. I
mm,
had no idea.
I didn't know that either but here we are.
It's that Uranus and Gemini, we got to start teaching our people,
Hmm.
education. So, any good news that you experienced?
No. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Personally,
No?
collectively,
Okay.
no. What about you? You got anything sweet to share?
No, November was rough.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm taking a social media breaks. You are as well, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that is the good news. And
Hmm.
yeah, I can't remember what day I made that post, but it's been glorious. and it's worked wonders for my mental health. And I don't think I want to go back to Instagram. All of
Yeah.
the billionaires are horrible. All of the platforms are owned
Mhm.
by horrible Zionist, billionaire people. But Mark Zuckerberg in particular just really bothers
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. He's
So
gross.
I don't think I'm
They're
going to
all
go back.
gross.
They're all gross,
Really?
but
Do you think you're gonna delete your page?
I don't think I'm going to delete my page. I think I'm going to keep it up so people can find me.
Find me. Yes.
But I don't like the social component. I don't like
Hmm.
the cyber stalking. It just feels
Hmm.
like there's, what did we call it? We were
Oh, the
messaging.
monitoring
The
spirits.
monitoring spirits. Like, I just
Yes.
don't like that. And I don't feel any of that on TikTok. I
Yeah.
post and I have no clue who likes my shit. I have no clue who follows me. It just
Hmm.
goes out into the ether. And it's amazing. I feel so free. I've never felt so
Yes.
free.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
We were talking about the monitoring spirit because people will watch your stuff, but they won't like it or comment on
They
it.
don't genuinely support you. And it's like,
Yes.
ew,
Yeah. Yeah. Don't be
get
a
out,
creep.
get out of my energy field. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was very weirded out by that in November. Like I think I had like thousands and thousands of people watching my stories, but like these people never like my posts
Mm-hmm.
unless the algorithm just doesn't show my stuff, but I'm like that's just weird to me.
Yep.
But so that was our November. Should we do a little no December for
Yes.
people, for the
Yes. Yes.
people
Yes.
before we
Yes.
get into 2026?
Yeah. Let's do some highlights for December.
Great. So we start off with a bang in the month of December with our first lunation, December 4th. This is a full moon in Gemini at 13 degrees.
Yes. And it's square the nodes. Nearly
Yeah.
exactly.
Hmm.
And so even though this isn't an eclipse, it might bring up eclipse vibes or energy. And it's going to feel a little extra dramatic. We're having it take place on the communication sector, and this could coincide with like learning important news or like a certain conversation reaching a climax or a turning point or making an important decision.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I think it's let's see, you say Mercury is the ruler and it's applying to form a trine with Jupiter and Saturn.
Hmm.
So that's very sweet and supportive.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. What do you think about it?
I think this is like a pivotal point. Like you're gonna have to decide, okay, I think in the year of 2025, people were shown their like life now and the life that they could live in that little blip
Mm,
of time in the summer with the outer planets. And this full moon, because it's like at the bendings, right? It's because and Gemini is like the choice. It's it's the twins.
hmm
It feels like you can choose to stay where you've been. It could be a life of comfort where like, whatever it is. A lot of people will choose that, the devil that they know versus the devil that they don't know. Or you can surrender and lean into something new, something that like, maybe like is going to be a little uncomfortable, but there is a choice here, I do feel. And
hmm
I think at this point, people are going to be thinking a lot, reflecting a lot. I think, this time of year too, a lot of people have regrets or, all those like
Mm,
holiday feels. Do you want to share about the card I have
yes.
prepared?
Um, yeah, so it's in the second decan of Gemini, which is the Nine of Swords. And Gemini energy in general can kick up an overactive mind. So I
Mhm.
think there can be a lot of communication. There can be a lot of thoughts that you're dealing with. You might have trouble sleeping around this time. And just that element of weighing all of the pros and the cons and trying to make a decision about kind of what comes next. I think the fact that Mercury, which is, the ruling planet of this lunation, is making supportive connections is great, but it's also building towards that opposition with Uranus. So there is a little bit of that unexpected quality in the backdrop, but it could
Hmm.
bring some sort of divine download or, an important revelation.
Hmm.
But grounding, getting into your body is going to be so
Yeah.
necessary.
This is my least favorite card. It's
Really.
like it's like worrying about something
Hmm.
and having anxiety and fears.
Hmm.
So, but it's a full moon, so it's like a completion of something. You can think back to May 26th when there was a new moon here at 6 degrees of Gemini. Maybe you set an intention at that time and now it's coming to fruition.
Yeah. One other thing, that's the axis of teaching and learning. And
Hmm.
I think that it's not lost on me that this full moon is happening right after all of those degrees have been reclassified as not pretend, professional.
That's
Um,
true.
so we might learn or see more developments regarding the Department of Education or the lack
Hmm.
thereof around this time.
That's a good point. Um, on December 8th, Mars in Sagittarius will square Saturn in Pisces at 25 degrees.
Not fun,
Eh.
not fun, but that's why I thought we should include it, right? Just to give people a heads up that this is probably the lamest energy of the year, or some of the lamest energy of the year. Mars and Saturn are two of the most challenging planets, and they're forming a harsh connection. And it really creates that stop and go energy, that drive to push forward and do something and act and be impulsive. But then Saturn is this, you know,
Hmm.
pushback or unexpected kind of, obstacle that comes up that makes that you're just kind of stuck. It can create that
Yeah.
energy of feeling stuck and frustrated.
It's like Mars is the go pedal and Saturn is the stop pedal, and you're like going like this.
Yes. And it
Yeah.
really has to do with, I think, um, our beliefs and faith
Hmm.
and coming through in those two Jupiterian signs, like it makes me feel like
Hmm.
spirituality, religion is going to be kind of
Hmm.
travel is going to be all baked into this somehow. Or
Hmm.
even like we saw with journalism, right? With that
Yeah.
Mars Uranus opposition, like freedom of speech, freedom of our beliefs, um, that
And
kind of thing.
they're both being ruled by that retrograde Jupiter.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I think this is the obviously the most intense square because it's between the two malefics, but most of December you're going to experience squares in your Sagittarius and Pisces area of your life.
Yeah, I would say December's astrology is not cute.
It's not cute.
It's serious. It's going to ask you to set boundaries. It's going to feel
Mhm.
like you're taking 5 steps backwards. Like when are,
Mhm.
because like you just said, it's not just Mars squaring Saturn. It's going to be Mercury squaring Saturn. It's going to be the sun, and then it's going to be
Mhm.
Venus, et cetera, et
Mhm.
cetera.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But have no fear, everyone. Stephanie and I always say the new year does not begin in January. It begins in March.
Correct, correct. So
So
this
this is
really, I
just
mean, it
midpoint.
it aligns, right? Like this
Yeah.
isn't the time for us to set new intentions. And yeah, I mean, we'll talk about the winter solstice in a second.
Yeah. So be careful on that day. That's a day to look out for. And then on December 11th, Mercury re-enters Sagittarius.
Yeah. Like hopefully this is a period of cleaning up some of our
Mhm.
personal and collective Mercury retrograde storylines that we've experienced.
Because it first went there October 29th or something, like
Oh my
a
gosh.
long time
That
ago,
feels like years ago.
ages ago.
Ugh. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so this is one long, it feels extra long for some reason. I don't
it
know.
does. Because it went between two signs.
Mm,
But this is the last retrograde that's going to be in fire, right? And then next year it's all water.
all water.
Mhm. On December 14th, Mars enters Capricorn.
Mm.
That's nice. We finally get an exaltation.
It's nice for everyone unless you're a Leo rising, you're gonna get sick.
Mhm.
You're gonna
Oh,
catch a cold. I always
Mars
catch a
in the
cold.
in
No,
the
in
Yeah.
the sixth house. Yeah.
Mhm.
So get some zinc. Well, I can't give medical advice, but do your thing, drink extra water. But without doubt, I always catch a cold with Mars and Capricorn. But we love Mars and Capricorn
Yeah.
because it can give us this consistency, the stability
Mhm.
to make shit happen.
Yeah.
It's
This is,
exalted.
it's exalted. We like when planets are exalted. It gives us a boost,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So if you want to do any Mars elections, this is a good time. So moving right along. Oh, do you want to say anything else about Mars in Capricorn?
No, I think just that whatever you put your mind to, like this is the time to really figure out what you want to commit to because you can make a lot of progress with that
Hmm.
energy.
Yeah. Yes. On December 16th, Mercury exits the
Mm,
post-retrograde shadow
mm,
in Sagittarius. So it's
mm.
going to move past 6 degrees.
Thank the
Yay!
heavens.
So it's
Thank,
officially over.
yes. So you're wrapping it up. This is bringing us back to November 9th when the retrograde kicked off. And we're in fresh territory, which
Hmm.
feels good.
Yes. On December 19th, we have our second lunation, the new moon in Sagittarius at 28 degrees.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
This feels a little tough for me. I don't know. How do you feel?
Tell me what you think. I haven't looked at it. I haven't looked at the
It
chart.
is, um, it's squaring Saturn,
Right.
and the decan is ruled by Saturn. So it's in the third decan of Sag,
Oh.
the Ten of Wands. It just feels like everyone needs to just relax and take a rest, take a load
Mm-hmm.
off.
Mm-hmm.
I think the whole month of December, people are going to just feel like overwhelmed and just maybe like something's not going my way, like you were saying, frustrated.
Yeah.
But it's also like in the holiday season, I don't know, some people have complicated relationships with this season, with like their families and what this season means,
Yeah.
you know?
And even with the Gregorian calendar, like the pressure that comes with the
Mhm.
end of the year, that can kick up
Mhm.
personal shit too, right? Which feels very Ten of Wands.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that it's interesting because typically, like new moons in Sagittarius offer us this fresh start, a hopeful new
Hmm.
beginning. We're thinking about all the possibilities, we're expanding in a new way, we're taking risks. But with Saturn there, it's almost like maybe you're taking one risk. Maybe
Yeah.
you're narrowing down, you're coming up with the plan first
Hmm.
and then you're taking your leap of faith. So, not that it's all going to be hampered, but it does bring that more serious energy where it's like you need to have some element of commitment or
Hmm.
boundaries going into this new moon, whatever you're
Yeah.
focused on.
Like you might experience a roadblock to the thing that you want to start, or, the project or endeavor that you want to go on, and you have to like overcome that challenge of that Saturn. But it is conjunct Venus.
Hmm.
Venus is at 24, this new moon's at 28. So I think that's cute. There is some Venusian energy in this new moon,
Hmm. Okay.
right?
All
The
right.
ruler is Jupiter retrograde in Cancer at 22 degrees, which rules the North Node. It doesn't witness the new moon though.
Mm-hmm.
It's in an inversion.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I have mixed feelings about this new moon.
I feel
As
like
you can tell.
your initial take will be the energy. I think it is going to be a little
Hmm.
bit of a sobering
Hmm.
energy and
Like a
people are
reality check. Yeah.
crashing out too. Like
Hmm.
hit pause, go
Hmm.
offline, just
Hmm.
recenter.
Yes.
Hmm.
But again, we don't want to make it too much of a Debbie Downer. This is still a new moon in Sagittarius.
Right.
So I think it's going to test your faith, if anything.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
perfect way to describe it.
Yeah. So on December 21st, we have I can't say summer or winter because it's the solstice.
Hmm.
Um, Winter for the northern hemisphere, summer for the southern hemisphere, but the sun enters Capricorn.
Yeah. And I think, in the Northern Hemisphere, this is where it's the longest night of the year, the most
Hmm.
darkness present. And for me, that's why it makes sense to turn inward, to
Hmm.
reflect. You with such little light available to us outside, we recognize how precious our time and our energy and our resources are. And so this is a time to reflect on that so you can be more discerning and thoughtful about what you focus on and who you take on your journey with you.
Hmm.
And it's kind of like the part of the manifestation process where you're pruning, you're kind of
Hmm.
cutting away and letting go what doesn't work so you can create space for new opportunities and connections to find you.
I like that you said discerning. That's a very Saturnian word.
Hmm.
I like that. It is a portal. I consider the solstices and equinox to be portals. So it's a good day to do a ritual
Hmm.
and pray, meditate, whatever you do on the solstice.
Yeah, set intentions for what you want to let go of.
Hmm. And then on December 24th, Venus enters Capricorn.
Everybody who's trying to get locked down or make a commitment,
Hmm.
this is your time.
What is it called? Cuffing season? Except I
Cuffing
think that happens
earlier,
earlier
right?
in the year.
Yeah, but this is cuffing season energy.
Yeah.
Yes, if you're looking for commitment, if you're looking for
Mhm.
more stability and love, this is your time. Venus in
Mhm.
Capricorn has a very refined sense of style,
Yes.
very chic,
Hmm.
um, because Venus has to do with style as well.
Hmm.
Uh,
Venus in Capricorn likes to invest in clothing that will last the test of time. They
mhm.
don't just buy fast fashion.
Yep, or trends. Yeah.
Depends, yeah.
I think also with Venus in Capricorn, Venus rules, or is indicative of, speaks to our values, our personal
Mhm.
values. And Capricorn kind of represents these old systems and structures that we
Mhm.
have in front of us and like history. And so maybe this is a
Tradition.
tradition.
Mhm.
Yeah. So maybe this is a time to reflect on your values and some of these systems and structures and where does that meet or where do they not meet and how can you
Mhm.
get involved to build Capricornian, the world
Yes,
we all
I
deserve.
love that. I love that. Building through our shared values.
Hmm. Yes. Yes.
And then that's December.
Yeah.
I hope we didn't scare you off too much.
No, I feel like it's not scary. It's just like
Mhm.
everybody wants to hear, like, oh, it's the holiday seasons. It's the
I
end of
know.
the year. Like,
Mm.
think about how much you got done this year. And it's like, no, like the energy is just going to be a little more frustrating
Mhm.
or exhausting, right?
We like to keep it real with you so you could prepare.
Yeah.
And I often tell people too, like we're giving a general reading for the collective. Some people are like, "You told me that it was going to be such a rough month," but it doesn't have to be for everybody, you
Exactly.
know? Check your personal placements.
Hmm.
So, shall we begin with 2026 OMG?
Let's do it.
Okay. January 26th, Neptune ingresses into Aries. So you want to think back to March 30th of 2025, the last time Neptune entered Aries.
Yeah. And this is
Mhm.
a BFD because it marks the grand finale of our Neptune and Pisces story. And it's been there for like, I don't know how many years.
14 years.
A long time.
Yeah, since 2011.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I thought.
Hmm.
Um, so this is quite literally the end of an era. It's one of
Hmm.
the collective planets, the outer planets shifting for good. And now we're
Hmm.
fully in Neptune and Aries territory.
Yes. And there's going to be so much fire in 2026,
Mm, yeah.
which we're fire signs, so we're like, bring it on.
Mm,
But I don't know if everyone can handle fire.
hmm.
Um, January 27th, Mars will conjunct Pluto in Aquarius at 4 degrees. So is this the closing conjunction? I don't remember.
It's uh
I mean,
it's
yeah.
the new moon, right? It's like the beginning of the new cycle.
Yeah.
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 Um, so this is creating, oh, you mean the closing from like
Last
the
2
October
years ago?
2023?
Yeah.
Mm, yes. So in October of 2023, we had a Mars Pluto square
Hmm.
um, when we started live streaming a genocide in Palestine.
Yes. Yes.
So this is I believe that this is the first conjunction, especially in Aquarius. I don't think we've
Hmm.
had a Mars.
No, this is the first time.
Mhm.
It seems like a big deal.
Yeah. I'm just gonna hop back to last year in my chart and confirm that, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is a big deal.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, Mars and Pluto, when they come together, they can bring up themes of violence and pain. And, Mars is this planet of military and war and aggressors and
Oppressors,
oppressors.
genocide,
Yeah. And in
the
your
need to
person,
defend oneself.
right. And Pluto is like the underbelly, right? What's been hidden and
Mhm.
the people who are neglected and left in the shadows, the stories that go untold. So oftentimes there is some sort of big reveal or big moment that kind of rattles the collective around this time in our personal lives too. Like this is energy where you're dealing with obsessive or intrusive thoughts or power dynamics or um, jealousy or something painful or just difficult, our shadow side, the difficult feelings,
Mhm.
the shit that we've avoided. It's like bubbling up around this time.
Hmm. Our triggers and our traumas might come up on this day. I
Mhm.
also think this has something to do with AI or technology too, just because Pluto and Aquarius. Um, I haven't really been paying that much attention to like Peter Thiel and AI stuff because it freaks me out a little bit.
Hmm.
But I feel like we're going to get more of that this year, 2026.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And just like the continuing of the like Mars conjunct Pluto to me in Aquarius is like the surveillance state and how they're going to continue to use technology to surveil us. Um,
That's why I got a Razor flip phone with my name on it. But yeah, you're right.
Honestly, maybe that's what we have to go back to at this time, you
Get them
know?
while you can. Because maybe by Mars Pluto, they're outlawing those and everybody has to have an iPhone. You know what I mean? It does
Yeah.
feel very much like surveillance state and
Mhm.
also like deep fakes, like horrible things being
Yeah.
generated with AI as
Yeah.
well.
Cyber attacks, things like drone warfare. I'm
Mm,
thinking, because when Mars was in Libra, it was square to Pluto and Capricorn. That was what set off the
yeah.
October 7th. And now both of them are here together in Aquarius, which again, who knows what that will portend? That's never happened to us before.
Yeah. Not since like the 1700s or something. So
Yeah.
we're in new territory and we'll
Hmm.
report back. You know we will.
Yes. On February 13th, Saturn will ingress back into Aries, and you can think back to May 24th, 2025. So we're again officially in this cycle now, this transit.
Done with Saturn and Pisces, kiss your that started in
Hmm.
March of 2023. So March of 2023 through February 13th, um, Saturn kind of mostly was in the sign of Pisces, and this is your grand finale. Usually, Saturn gives you a gift in whatever house it's leaving because it just causes so much shit for the whole time it's there. So I hope Saturn gives everyone a little gift in the Pisces section of their
I'm
chart.
waiting for mine.
I know, I'm ready too. Let me tell you, my eighth house is over it. I know, in your fourth house, we're just done.
I'm done. I'm done.
Hmm.
But I don't know what I honestly don't know what we're stepping into here. So we could be regretting this in the next year,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
Yeah.
But like I think the fire and air rising signs are gonna I think you're going to feel the like the sextiles and the trines. I think they're gonna be more supportive versus when Saturn was in Pisces because they were like in
And
not so fun angles.
your emotional houses.
Yes.
Hmm.
So we shall see.
Yeah, I will say Saturn in Aries is in fall, which means it
Hmm.
struggles, right? And we're
Hmm.
seeing this rise of fascism and horrible
Hmm.
authority figures all over the world, not just here in the
Hmm.
US. But I think that this is also an opportunity for us to push back. So I think we're going to see kind of like the worst of these quote
Yeah.
unquote leaders, but also see people stepping up and
Hmm.
pushing back against authority and fighting for one
Yeah.
another, I would hope.
Yes. So I'm gonna reference a lot of like USA Sibley stuff because it's being lit up next year, and Saturn, the USA Sibley has Saturn exalted in Libra. So the USA is going through its Saturn opposition, and I think you need a Saturn in its fall to break down the structures.
Yeah.
So
And to
yeah, I personally think this is going to be, it's going to be, it's not going to be easy time, but I think it's what's necessary.
Yeah. And yeah, and there's just no way to say it's gonna harm many, many people, and it's
Yeah.
horrible. Um, but I think that this is a really pivotal time in our history and the time to truly remember how much power we hold together when we come
Mm-hmm.
together. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we're going to start to witness that with Saturn in Aries. And because it's almost like the breakdown of the individual,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I also, just for anyone who doesn't know, the Sibley chart is the United States birth chart. That's what we're going to be talking about, is how all
Yeah.
of these placements are affecting the birth chart of the United States and
Mm-hmm.
what themes are going to come up.
And to your point, I think Saturn in Aries is like, what is our individual responsibility? Because it's not just going to be, we're like, no politician, no president, no mayor, not one single person is going to save us. It's really a collective effort.
Mhm.
And so hopefully throughout, last year, 2025 and 2026, we can be your, compass in helping you realize like what your role is in all of this
Mhm.
and realize like you do have power. So we're not effed, we're not fucked, we're not gonna give up because we have such a rare opportunity.
Yep.
Speaking of rare opportunity, on
Mhm.
February 17th, there is a new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius, and this is the first one of that series.
Mhm. Yes. So it's taking place at 28 degrees. We haven't had eclipses, in the sign of Leo and Aquarius um, since 2018, but the nodes were flipped. So
Hmm.
the time before that, I think was, hold on.
2009?
I think it was 2009. I have it here in the notes. Yeah, 2008 to 2009.
Hmm.
So that's the last time we had the North Node in Aquarius and the South Node in Leo. So similar themes and topics from both of those time periods are going to reemerge.
Hmm.
Um, but this means that we're having new fated beginnings and endings in the Leo and Aquarius sections of our birth chart. And the ruler of this one just seems totally wild because the ruler of this eclipse is that Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries, which happens only
Hmm.
once every 36 years. And then
Hmm.
when you add on top of it coming together in the sign of Aries, it's way even rarer.
Hmm. Yeah, I looked at this new moon and I was like, OMG.
Hmm.
Because the USA's Sibley moon is at 27 Aquarius.
Oh.
So it's hitting the natal placement of the USA's moon almost exactly by 1 degree.
Mm,
And the moon in a nation's chart represents the people.
yeah. Hmm.
And it's going to square Uranus and Taurus, which at that point is at 27 degrees, so very close also.
Yeah.
It just seems like some new era is being birthed here at this new moon solar eclipse.
Hmm.
Are you
Uh,
speechless?
I'm a little speechless. Just taking all in the information at once. Saturn and Neptune, when they come together, has to do with borders and boundaries. And the Astrology podcast did like a big episode on it, right? Going all the way back centuries and centuries. And you see how during some of these conjunctions, borders are taken down, right? The last time
Hmm.
was 1989, which coincided with
Hmm.
the fall of the Berlin Wall. Well, look
Hmm.
at the climate that we're in now. I wouldn't be surprised if our borders have the
Hmm.
opposite. They go up more, right? Like there's restriction. It's harder to get here. We're getting rid of visas completely. I don't know what kind of insane thing this administration is going to do, but it feels like we're moving in that direction where, um, you know, I don't think the solution is to flee the country, right? Fascism, oppression is everywhere. There's no place in the world that the US's imperialism doesn't have its grip.
Hmm. Yeah.
But if you are one of those people who's like, I want to leave the country, maybe do it before this.
Yeah. Well, it is a new moon technically, so you have like 6 months before
Mm.
there's like a 6 month window. I think that it's already like we're doing this in 2025, so I feel like it's already getting to the point where people aren't getting visas. Like I know
Hmm.
people who haven't been approved for visas, but I do think this is the beginning of the US breaking apart. I think that's what's going to happen at the end of maybe Uranus and Gemini,
Hmm.
because it's already kind of, I mean, we did a whole thing about Neptune and Aries, I think last year or
Hmm.
2025, of that was the time of the Civil War
Yep.
when it was like the North versus the South. I do think something like that is coming or
It
is here. Who
It's
knows?
here. We've soft launched
Yeah.
it. We're in the soft launch era of the Civil War,
I know,
right?
like
Like
we're
it's
already
so
here.
insane, and then you're getting emails like, "Can you send me this Excel sheet?" It's like, what timeline are we living
What?
on? Yeah,
Yes.
we've soft launched a Civil
Mhm.
War last year. But okay.
Yeah, and when these two came together almost exactly this summer, that's when you saw the National Guard being deployed in
Mm-hmm.
cities like Portland and DC and
LA.
Chicago, LA, and that's when that all escalated, right?
Mm-hmm.
During that time period. So I'm wondering if more of that's going to come in a bigger way next year.
1,000%. Especially
Yeah.
with it taking place on the moon, the Sibley chart's moon.
Yes. Yeah.
It directly affects the people of the
The
nation.
people. Hmm.
Um, so yeah, not many sweet things to say about this lunation. Personally, I'll say just having that new moon square Uranus, if there are parts of yourself that you've been like, if you've been too buttoned up or like, trying to shove your authentic desires down, this
Hmm.
can shake you up and help you
Yeah.
embrace a more authentic
Mhm.
sense of self.
Yes. A new era in your life is emerging because,
Hmm.
again, it is connected to that Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries. So there is like a new version of you, a new part of you that's trying to emerge. I think it's interesting that when we were having eclipses in Pisces and Virgo, they were co-present with Saturn and Neptune, and now they will be co-present with Pluto.
Mm,
It's almost like by sign that Pluto is being
I
um,
didn't think about that.
magnified in
Hmm.
some way.
Yep.
So it does seem like there's deep transformation in your personal life as well as the collective.
Hmm.
And Aquarius is the sign of innovation and looking to the future. So this is a, I mean, we don't tell people to manifest on eclipses, right? But you could think about your future and this could be the start of it, in your Aquarius Leo axes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Those are in your sign.
I know. Tell me about it.
In your
I'm
sign.
just bracing myself. Yeah, this eclipse is like opposite my Mars. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
Wow. Yowzas.
It'll be a
That'd
time.
be fun.
I'll report back.
Report back. On February 20th, I feel like this is the day we've been waiting for. Saturn will conjunct Neptune in Aries at 0 degrees. It's happening.
It's happening. Yeah. Um, and not only is it happening, it's happening at 0 degrees of Aries, which
Hmm.
is not only a critical degree, right? Or an anaretic degree. It's the first degree of the zodiac.
Yeah.
That feels big.
This feels very big. It
Uh,
feels like we're seeding a new timeline,
I
doesn't it?
literally, literally was just gonna say, you know how many like indigenous cultures believe in like the different cycles of
Hmm.
Earth, right?
Hmm.
It feels like one is leaving and this is
Hmm.
the initiation of the next cycle.
Oh, yeah. Like this time has been prophesized
Mm-hmm.
by the indigenous people.
Mm-hmm.
This seems like it's this.
Yeah. Um, Well, I mean, okay, so let's give a little background for our astro newbies that are tuning in. Saturn is this planet of boundaries and borders and responsibility and commitment and challenges and tradition. And Neptune is this planet of spirituality, our beliefs, our create
Mysticism.
mysticism, but also illusion,
Hmm.
and it has this fog to it. So when another planet comes together with Neptune, there is this element of like dissolving what once
Hmm.
was, especially a stable structure like Saturn.
Hmm.
So there is going to be some sort of inherent ending and beginning that
Hmm.
is happening here.
Yeah. Like a dissolution of a boundary to make a new one,
Hmm.
which is what you were referring to. The dissolution of the Soviet Union
Hmm.
became just Russia.
Hmm.
So, in your own personal life, you want to look at your Aries house if you have anything in and around 0 degrees. But for everybody, it's something new is happening in your Aries house.
Yes.
The USA Sibley's IC is at 1 degrees of Aries. So, I do think that the foundation of the United States is changing. Something's
Hmm.
dissolving to be reformed into something new. And again, we have the power to shape what that is.
Yes. Yep.
Seems like a big deal. But let's move on. February 22nd, 26th, and March 20th, there is a Mercury retrograde in Pisces.
Yeah, and this will bring us back to this April, April 2025, when we had a Mercury retrograde in Pisces.
Hmm.
And, this retrograde is going between the degrees of 22 and 8 degrees of Pisces. So if you have any planets in Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces, you're the main characters. Similar themes and topics from earlier this year are going to come up from the past retrograde. I I think it's nice that this retrograde isn't co-present with Saturn because I was just
Hmm.
thinking, I'm like, this past retrograde in Pisces, I was so sad. I was just so depressed.
Hmm.
And I'm like, it's just so clear because it was co-present and ramming into Saturn and
Yeah.
Neptune in Pisces, which now they've moved on officially into Aries.
Hmm.
So there's that.
Hmm.
Maybe it won't be as emo.
Hmm. Because Mercury in Pisces is emo to begin with.
Hmm.
And now the retrogrades won't go between fire and water and just completely be in water, which I think is different. And yeah, Mercury in Pisces is in its detriment and in its fall, but it's a good time to do things that are maybe more spiritual in nature, right? Because Mercury is a planet of communication, commerce, and contracts. Pisces is like spirituality, art, music. So
I think
it might,
people with Mercury and Pisces are so poetic.
yes,
Yeah.
poetic people.
Hmm.
And but there could be miscommunications for sure during
Definitely.
this time.
Hmm.
And similar to how, maybe not similar, but when we were experiencing the Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, we were experiencing all of those flight delays. And
Mm.
then in 2024, all those plane crashes. I'm wondering if Mercury and Pisces, they'll be like boat things,
Ah,
like sea or ocean vehicles. I don't know what you would call them.
the orcas are coming back.
I
They're
was hoping that the
they're
orcas.
they're going after the yachts.
Yes,
Let's call that in.
let's call that in. Um, okay, so on March 3rd, there is a full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo at 12 degrees.
Mm, yes, very close. Just thinking of my Venus, that's right there at 12 degrees.
Oh,
I know
oh
these
wow.
eclipses are doozies. I might be out of commish early next year. I don't know. Um, this is very
Oh
close to the South Node, so there
no.
is some
Hmm.
sort of release, an ending,
Hmm.
a letting go. Um, and the ruler of this is Mercury retrograde in Pisces.
Hmm.
And it's going to be co-present with Mars and Venus and the Sun also in Pisces. So there's very much like this oppositional energy that's coming up.
Hmm.
Um, the deacon is the Nine of Pentacles, the second deacon of
Hmm.
Virgo, which can be this card of someone finally kind of enjoying or like self-reliance. I think of
Hmm.
self-reliance when I see that card, someone who's able to enjoy,
Self-made person.
yeah, enjoy how
Yeah.
hard they've worked. Um, something that I found so interesting when I was reading, I don't have her book here, T. Susan Chang's book about tarot and the deacons,
Hmm.
is that the way that this person is positioned on the card, it's almost like she's like they've positioned themselves like that on
Hmm.
purpose, right? That there's like they're trying to give off or project a certain image.
Hmm.
And that's just something that's always like stuck with me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And she's holding a bird.
Yeah, she's like very much like it's not natural, right? You don't wouldn't
Yeah.
just like
She's
stand like that.
posing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she is like posing. She's trying to give off a certain image.
Yes.
Um so I don't know. I don't know really what that has to do with this lunation, but it's something that's always stuck with me when I see planets and signs moving through that
Yeah.
deacon.
I always, when I learned tarot, the yellow cards are the best. They're like the luckiest cards. The
Mm.
yellow cards, like the Fool, the Magician, they're like the ones that you get to like finally celebrate something.
Look what I
So
just
that,
pulled.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes, that always stuck with me too. And this is obviously like really yellow. Um, I know Venus, this is a Venus and Virgo card. I know
Yeah.
Venus is in its fall in Virgo, but I always think of Venus and Virgo people as like actually people who pay attention to the detail and have a lot of skill when it comes to beauty, and they really have to like pay attention. And like I also think with the grapes here, it takes a lot of skill to grow grapes.
Mm.
So I think there was a solar eclipse in Virgo September 21st of 2025, and so this is like the full moon moment. I do think that some people are going to experience the fruits of their labor.
Hmm.
I do think that people are going to be like, "Oh, finally," when I looked at this chart, like visually, there was so much Pisces. I mean,
Hmm.
like you said, Mercury, Mars, Venus, the sun, they're all personal planets. So I do think this is gonna feel like personal. I think it's
Yeah.
gonna be about relationships. It's gonna be about your own sense of worth. And and yeah, with that though, with the South Node, there is some um ending of some kind, right? It is a
But
full moon after all.
but with Venus and Virgo too, being Venus and Virgo's card, um, it could be about like releasing like your own insecurities to embrace like
Hmm.
a deeper self-worth.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And Venus and Virgo in general are so, I think they're the perfectionists, right? Like they're so self-critical, and maybe this is some level of self-acceptance that
Mm.
you did it. You did
Yeah.
it, Joe. We did it, Joe.
Yeah. I love
Remember?
that. Yes.
God.
Yes.
Um,
I love
but
that.
yeah, I do think that it's and the next aspect the moon makes is to sextile to Jupiter in
Mm.
Cancer. So and Venus will be exalted, right, in
Hmm.
Pisces. So I do think there is something lovely that people can expect out of this eclipse.
Yeah, that's a nice lineup.
Yeah. Because also this is the second to last eclipse in the series, right? So you're finishing up this story
Yes.
in this
Yeah.
area of your life.
Hmm.
Okay, so on April 19th, Mars will conjunct Saturn in Aries at 7 degrees.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this day.
Woof.
Woof. Because it's not just Mars and Saturn, Mercury is going to be right there. So it's
Mm-hmm.
this triple conjunction at 7 degrees. If you have any
Mm-hmm.
planets or placements around 7 degrees of the cardinal signs, you'll definitely feel this energy. Um, Mars and Saturn is like kind of like a new moon moment, right? They're coming together in a
Mm-hmm.
conjunction, and it's like um a new responsibility you're taking on, a new sense of maturity that you're going to have to kind of embody, setting an important boundary and enforcing it in some way. But then we also have Mercury there, and that can also feel like the end of a contract. Or
Mm-hmm.
um, could it be signing a new contract? Possibly. But it also feels more so like ending of a contract.
It
Uh,
seems more severing with
mm-hmm,
Mars. It's in its domicile. When I first saw this, I was like, something feels like it's breaking apart.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'm gonna
Also, the sun is at the anaretic degree in Aries, and the moon will be applying to a conjunction with Uranus at the anaretic degree. I was like, something feels like it's ending, or a lot of things.
Yes, yes. Um, I just pulled up the Sibley chart, and this action is almost exactly forming a square to Jupiter in Cancer,
Hmm.
which is the chart ruler of the
Hmm.
Sibley.
Yep. Yeah. It feels like a big day. Um, I mean, we don't like predicting these things, but this also feels like some sort of Schmemerist attack or like a attack of some kind,
I,
school shooting.
I feel like a mass like militarization. It
Mm.
feels like, sending more federal troops
Mm-hmm.
out.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, because like squaring to the cancer stuff. Yeah.
And just, yeah, all of that in Aries, that conjunction in Aries,
Hmm.
that just feels, yeah. So this
Military.
military,
Hmm.
exactly. So both collectively and personally, this energy is rough.
Yeah. And this could also be what the US does abroad. But as
Hmm.
we've seen last year, 2025, whatever they do to people abroad, they do to the citizens here. It's the imperial boomerang. So nobody's safe. We all have to fight back in some way. And I do think that might also be another signature is people taking arms,
Yeah.
like Second Amendment stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's such an important point, and to remind people that like a lot of the surveillance that ICE is using now was first tested in Palestine.
Hmm.
Um, you know, what they do to them, to other people, they will do to us. So,
Yes. And I also say that just because I knew it was coming up. A few days later, on April 24th, Uranus ingresses back into Gemini. And you want to think back to July 7th, 2025. And if you think back to last summer, July and August, this was when there were global uprisings going on.
mm,
And not just the US, but all over the world. People were fighting back. I even have like a video on my Instagram of all of them, like compiled. And that's really when people started to, you know, revolution energy.
I know. I would dare to say that the US barely has tapped into that energy. But when you
Mhm.
look at like the global south, it's like that's what we
Mhm.
need to be doing,
Yes,
right?
Nepal. It was
Mm-hmm.
Nepal and the Philippines.
Yep.
There were other places. Now that I'm like, I have such a bad memory.
No, no, there were a bunch.
There are a bunch, right?
I feel like Indonesia too.
Was it Nepal? They like took down their government in like a week and then they like cleaned up and
Yeah.
they voted for their new prime minister through like a social media app or something. If I remember correctly, I
Mm-hmm.
think it was that. It was like Gen Z revolution.
Yes.
And that
Yes.
felt very Uranus and Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Um, Uranus and Gemini, I mean, people get so offended that we say these things, but historically, they bring revolution. We're not making this stuff up.
No, this isn't to fearmonger. This
Yeah.
is just literally looking at patterns and cycles, which is
Mhm.
quite literally the study of astrology. And
Mhm.
Gemini is, your local environment, your community, the people that you're connected with. And it really is when we see Uranus move through there, we see communication changing, like how we consume our media, social media changing, advancements with like space travel, all types of
Mhm.
travel. But we see community coming together. Hmm.
Yeah. And our news, the way we got news is changing, right?
Yep.
They're firing people, we're getting censorship. And now I'm like, remember when you said this is the time we're going to see flying cars? That still hasn't happened yet. Like
But
out
we
of all,
have, right. But we have like 8 years of Uranus and
I know,
Gemini.
but wouldn't you think that that's like one of the first things that they would do?
I thought we were going to have a flying car by the year 2000. On the eve, 1999, December
Yeah,
31st,
Y2K.
I was like, tomorrow's the day they're going
I
to
know.
launch the flying car.
Literally, it's
Mhm.
so weird. Out of all the things, you want to bomb that country, but no flying cars?
I
Okay.
know.
Um, May 6th through October 16th, Pluto will retrograde in Aquarius between 5 and 3 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Pluto retrogrades you like barely feel, right? Because it's so slow.
yes. So, the days that you're really going to want to pay attention to are May 6th and October 16th, because the
Mhm.
stations have like the exclamation point, and
Mhm.
in between, it's like Pluto spends like 5 months out of the year retrograde. It's not a big
Yeah.
deal.
Yes. On June 6th, Venus will conjunct Jupiter in Cancer at 25 degrees. This is nice. I'm glad that you put that in there.
Yeah, I see. There's a little bit of hope. I think that this is lovely because we had one other Venus Jupiter conjunction on August 11th of 2025, and but
True.
unfortunately, we were still feeling that Saturn Neptune square from Aries. So there was
True.
just some, it kind of offset it. But this time, well, I guess that's not true. We'll still be feeling that, but it's further away. So
Hmm.
Venus and Jupiter are taking place. This conjunction's at 25 degrees. And there's just something that feels so like fertile and
Mhm.
creative and supportive. And, um, this energy is just one to put on your calendar to look forward to.
Yeah. So many people got pregnant last year that
Mm-hmm.
I know personally.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to make them babies, this is your last chance of Jupiter in Cancer.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. While Jupiter's in Cancer. And if you
Yeah.
don't, use protection.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that's really lovely. I'm gonna circle that on my calendar. On June 29th through Ju July 23rd, we have our second Mercury retrograde in Cancer between 26 and 16 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
This will be
Um,
interesting just because the USA's Mercury is in Cancer retrograde, and I think it's the same degrees, if I'm not
oh my
mistaken.
gosh, you're right. I have the
Yeah.
chart up. It's 24 degrees. Yeah, so that Mercury retrograde is going to directly impact the US and our seventh house of one-on-one relationships with other
Mhm.
people, and then our 10th house of reputation. So it's a big one. And
Mhm.
it's retrograding over all of those Cancer placements. That's
Yes.
stellium.
Yes. In the eighth house, if you use the whole sign house system, which could deal with like taxes, how they use our taxes, death, metaphorically, literal,
Hmm.
all those fun topics.
Yeah.
Um, but in your own personal life, you want to look at your Cancer house and you will be reviewing things there. And yeah,
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
feel like Mercury retrogrades are just so in the zeitgeist now. I don't know if we need to give any, like, if we'd have to handhold anymore.
Yes, you're so
You
right.
know?
Hmm.
I have random people coming up to me and be like, it's Mercury retrograde.
Yeah.
So on June 30th, Jupiter enters Leo.
Yes.
More
Yes.
fire energy.
More fire energy. And the last wave of this was July of 2014 through
Mhm.
2015. So think about your Leo house and how that area of your life experienced growing pains, like where you were pushed outside of your comfort zone, the different
Mhm.
blessings and risks that you took, the goals that you set for yourself. Um, yeah, that's a biggie. I kind of think that there's going to be this, you know, the last during that period we saw Instagram in particular like really grow. Like it acquired, I
True.
think, WhatsApp for
Mhm.
a couple, million, $1 billion, I don't know. But we were seeing like the emergence of these monopolies like really, really growing. And it's my hope that with this Jupiter in Leo, now opposite Pluto in Aquarius, we're starting to recognize um, the the wealth inequality gap,
Mhm.
and that this is a 99% versus 1% issue versus left versus right. People have more in common with a trans person, a disabled person, than Elon Musk. Um, and I saw this post the other day that said if you go back 1 million minutes, you
Mhm.
land at the beginning of 2023. If you go back 1 billion minutes, you land at the Roman Empire. And that is the type of gap and inequality that we're dealing with here. And that blew my mind.
Wild.
Hmm.
Wow, that's wild. And these people can't spend all of this money in one lifetime. I think that's why they're so obsessed with death and why they get into biohacking, why they do these like cryo freezing things.
Oh, it
It's
has to
like,
be a
right?
crazy crisis of conscience.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's interesting because I would think that Jupiter and Leo would expand celebrity again. Because I did see during the pandemic when we had all of that Aquarius energy, there was this downfall of celebrity, especially with TikTok, right? It was giving regular content creators a chance to become influencers. And I I thought Jupiter in Leo would expand the celebrity again, but
But it
maybe
will
I'm
be
wrong.
opposite Aquarius. And yeah,
Right.
Pluto and Aquarius. So I
Right.
think that there is this awakening, this collective
Mhm.
awareness of the shadow, at least at the beginning of the transit. But yeah, maybe I think there is the potential for that as well.
Or
Uh,
like a different kind of celebrity, like maybe um, you know, these influencers are honestly getting out of hand.
mm,
Like they're getting out of hand, and maybe it's that, like, because Jupiter is about expansion, right? It's like an overabundance of something. Sometimes it's not a good thing.
hmm. Yep.
I also think with Jupiter in Leo, Pluto in Aquarius, and these eclipses, I feel like the monarchy is coming to its end,
Yeah.
the British monarchy.
Mm,
Like, I think something's gonna happen with Charles and that whole thing. Um, I do think it's this
yeah.
timeline.
I love that. I'm calling it in. I'm backing it with my energy.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'm just saying that for astrological reasons, because Leo does it's synonymous with royalty.
Yeah.
So yeah. And on okay, so Jupiter and Leo, that's a big transit. On July 4th, Mars will conjunct Uranus and Gemini at 3 degrees. This is like, I feel like this is a prophecy.
Yeah. I mean, when I saw this, like Mars Uranus conjunctions happen once every 2 years or so. They're volatile, they're unexpected, destabilizing. They can coincide with natural disasters, climate change disasters, big world events that are jarring.
Hmm.
Um, but to have it coincide on July 4th too in the US, it's like, come on. And this is happening on our Venus
Hmm.
directly, very close to our Jupiter as well. And yeah, Venus rules the 11th house and our sixth house.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. And it's in the eighth house of loss. Yeah, it just feels ominous.
Hmm. And this is the Mars and Uranus return of the US,
Yeah.
even though it's not exactly conjunct, but um, Mars again is the planet of military, war, violence, action, and Uranus and Gemini is that revolution energy, the resistance energy. So, personally, though, this could be a good day to take action, speak out, get
Hmm.
more involved in your local neighborhood, community organize, start a newspaper or
Mm,
zine, sorry,
hmm.
because I feel like the more they censor and everything you watch on regular TV is propaganda. So the more you can disseminate information to your neighbors, your community, I think that's how we can help people get more informed. I have literally been like predicting that the Uranus and Gemini era, we're going to get more social media apps. I
Mm.
hope that they're ones that aren't bought by billionaires,
Yeah. Yeah.
that are
I
more,
do. I do think something like that will come through, and that is going to create this platform for us to organize for the common day people, the 99% of us.
yeah.
But what part of our Uranus and Gemini story will that come through? I don't know, but I think that is key.
Hmm. So if y'all are listening to this and you know an app developer, please send this information their way.
Yes, or put them in touch
Maybe
with us so we can
yeah,
help.
maybe
Yeah.
it's this conjunction that inspires somebody to finally do it.
Hmm.
On July 7th, between July 7th and December 12th, Neptune will retrograde in Aries between 4 and 1 degrees, which is the first time, right? In fully in Aries. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Mhm.
that July 7th and December 12th, those are going to be like exclamation points regarding your personal and the collective Neptune and Aries story. You're going to feel the energy and the pivots of Neptune more intensely on those days.
Mhm. On July 26th, the nodes enter Leo and Aquarius officially.
Right. So now
Mhm.
we are moving into new eclipse territory, the faded endings and beginnings. I will say when the nodes change signs, you feel it that day. There is
Mhm.
some palpable change
Hmm.
that's happening that day. Um, and it is the nodal return of the USA.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
Oh, wait. No, I don't know if it's, yeah.
It is
No, wait. Is it?
at 6 degrees. I'm looking at it, the Sibley chart.
But the North Node is going to be in Aquarius, right?
Oh, right, right.
I
So
think
it's
I
the
mistyped
flip-flop.
that. Yeah,
Okay,
the
but that's
nodal
still a big
reversal.
deal.
Yeah,
Nodal
okay.
reversal.
Sorry, that was a typo. It's still Mercury retrograde over here.
Yeah, but that's a
It's the
big
nodal
deal.
reversal. Yes. So the USA has the North Node in Leo and the South Node in Aquarius, so they're flipped.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
in our communication houses and our community
Mm-hmm.
houses and our
Mm-hmm.
beliefs and also like law and order, right? Like
Yeah.
it feels like there could be some positive changes for how we organize and come together, but also like there's
Mm-hmm.
some big political shakeups.
Yes. I think it's going to be a lot of this,
Mm-hmm.
like resistance and like, I'm going to do this because you're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and isn't this your nodal return?
Yes. Yes, it is. It is my nodal return. So TBD on that. Fated
You'll
endings
you'll
and
keep
beginnings.
you'll keep us informed.
Mm-hmm. I sure will.
On July 26th through December 10th, Saturn will retrograde in Aries between 14 and 7 degrees. Wow, Saturn makes it really far
Mm-hmm.
in 2026.
I was surprised. I was like, wow, I did not expect
Wow.
it to make it
Yeah.
halfway through the
Well, it's in
zodiac.
Aries. It's
Yeah,
like we gotta get
zooming
shit moving.
along. Yes. Um, yeah, again, those two dates, July
Mhm.
26th, December 10th, are going to be the turning points regarding boundaries, commitments, contracts.
Yeah. And on August 12th, there is a new moon solar eclipse in Leo at 20 degrees.
Yes. I'm going to pull up this chart just to look at in the background. I mean, it's nice that uh
It's ruled by the
it's
sun
ruled
in
by the sun, so it's in
domicile.
in domicile.
Hmm.
It's close to the south node.
Hmm.
Um, and I did just note that Mars ingressed into Mars is at 0 degrees of Cancer, so it's like it
Hmm.
just ingressed and it's been there for like a hot minute. So that feels very
Hmm.
like a little anoretic.
Yeah.
Um, but in general, I feel like the energy is pretty cute for the day. Like we have
Hmm.
Mercury in Leo moving towards like a sextile with Venus in Libra.
Hmm.
Mercury in Leo is also working its way to a conjunction with Jupiter in Leo. Um, that new moon energy is coming off of a trine to Saturn
Hmm.
in Aries. So I don't have too many bad things to say about this.
Yeah. It feels very like you're taking action on something because it is in the third decan of Leo, which is a Mars ruled decan. And that's why I thought it was interesting that Mars is also, it just entered a cardinal sign, even though it's, you know, not its favorite sign, it's in its fall, but it's it's represented by the Seven of Wands, which what is your interpretation of the Seven of Wands? A lot of people say defense, you
Mm.
know.
Yeah. The figure is like
I'll
in
try to find it.
the figure is in a position of advantage, right? It's uphill, like if you
Mhm.
look at the angle of the card. Um, but it's also unprepared for battle. One of my favorite details about this card is it's wearing two different shoes. And it's like,
Ooh,
uh, it had to throw the shoes on last minute and then defend itself. It's coming
yeah.
after the Six of Wands where you get this recognition and this success, and then it's like, okay, prove it. So you have gone viral. You've achieved this new level of success or whatever that looks like for you.
Mhm.
You've launched this business. Well, why do you deserve it? You know?
Mhm.
Um, and there's this element of having to prove yourself, defend yourself. And I think
Mhm.
there's also this element of like projection and jealousy from other people that's kind of folded
Ooh,
into this card as
yeah.
well.
like, not today, Satan.
Yes, it is. Yes. And it's a very action oriented card, right? So
Hmm.
there is movement, there is that element of exhaustion, but there is you have success baked into it, right? It's just
Hmm.
now you have to not only prove it to others, but prove it to yourself. Why do you deserve this position or this,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. And it's a new moon in Leo, which is like very, prideful and courageous. And it's like, I am going to start this new thing in this area of my life. And I think your new endeavor might require like this energy,
Mm-hmm.
like almost like, I don't care what you say. I don't care what you do. I'm going to like defend it.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, so that's the solar eclipse. On on August 28th, there's a lunar eclipse in Pisces. So I guess like exactly 2 weeks later. Is this the last one
I
at
think
4
it
degrees?
I think it is almost the last one. We have one
Yeah.
more
Oh,
eclipse
we
in
have
the
one more.
series. It's a Virgo one though. So this is the final one in Pisces.
Okay.
And this will bring us back to March of 2025 and September of 2025 and
Hmm.
September of 2024 when we are
Hmm.
having eclipses on this axis. So, yeah, this is wrapping it up for the Pisces section of your birth chart.
Hmm.
Something I think so interesting about this eclipse is it's like literally exactly square Uranus, and it's a day after the Cazimi, the Mercury Cazimi. So, we just had this like shocking revelation because that Cazimi is almost like exactly square Uranus as well.
Hmm.
And there's definitely some surprises baked into this.
Hmm.
In the background of the day, we have Mars working its way to square Saturn also. So, um, it's not all bad. I would say the ruler of this eclipse is Jupiter in Leo, and that is forming a trine with Saturn in Aries. So
That's good.
Jupiter and Saturn, when they come together, it builds our dreams in our personal
Hmm.
lives.
Hmm.
So, and they're forming a trine. This is what the opening trine. We went through the
Hmm.
squares in 2024,
Hmm.
early 2025, which, like, oh my God, peak depression for me. Um, so I'm excited. It was a doozy of a time.
Yeah, I actually have been tracking this cycle because they came together. They're like the timekeepers of astrology, right? Jupiter and Saturn, and they came together at 0 degrees of Aquarius, December 20th, 2020. And then had the opening square when Saturn was in Pisces, Jupiter was in Gemini, and that was rough, right? We were all remember when we were like, let's quit astrology? We were
Yes.
both like, what is the point of this?
Yeah, we're like, this is the end.
This is the end.
Hmm.
Goodbye. But we pushed through. And then in 2025, we had the trine between Jupiter in Cancer and Saturn in Pisces, but it never got exact. It
Hmm.
became like so close, though. And we're going to get the exact trine, I think, on August 30th. So, like 2 days later after this lunation, they're going to finally come into their opening trine, which is like, oh my gosh, finally, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I do think there is support here of whatever you've been going through in this Pisces Virgo eclipse story, because those were also playing in the background, Jupiter and Saturn. And I feel like whatever that is finally flowing, coming to fruition. And I think you're going to have like an epiphany moment with that Kazemi.
Yeah.
Mercury is exalted in Virgo.
Yeah. And Uranus could really bring whatever's like hidden in your subconscious to light, like the
Mhm.
divine downloads and ideas and stuff that you have been sleeping on. And it can give you that courage to act, to do something differently. And that
Mhm.
could be what sets this fated series of events into motion.
Yes, exactly. On September 10th, Uranus will retrograde in Gemini at 5 degrees. So,
Yes.
yeah, like you said, pay attention to the station,
Hmm.
which means that the planet stays there for a little while at the same degree.
And it might be a time where like you're not sleeping well. You might have an overactive mind. Like all of
Mhm.
that is very. on brand.
Hmm. Between October 3rd and November 14th, we have Venus retrograde between Scorpio and Libra. So 8 to 22 degrees. Another Venus retrograde year.
Yeah. Yeah. So the last time we had Venus retrograde was in Aries Pisces, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And interesting
Mars, yeah. It was
having it
like
s- yeah, the Mars Libra or
Mars,
the Mars Venus.
yes, Mars, Venus. Venus being in its domicile and its detriment, its exile. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
So, I would say Venus retrograde in Scorpio might definitely be a time where you're learning or navigating trust, intimacy, vulnerability in relationships. There might be some secrets that are revealed, pushing back against unhealthy power dynamics, breaking cycles in your relationship patterns and others. That might all come up. And that might be a little bit of a more challenging time versus once Venus re-enters Libra. It's still retrograde, it's still struggling a bit.
Hmm.
Um, but I think the Scorpio portion might be a little bit more of a bumpy ride.
Hmm. I always see people breaking up during Venus retrogrades. It's like
Mm-hmm.
classic.
Mm-hmm.
Because the last Venus retrograde was between Aries and Pisces, where Venus was in its exaltation. It was like really lovely, and then when it went into Aries, it was like people were breaking up.
Yeah. A lot of big celebrity breakups, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then with
And
Venus retrograde in Leo, I remember it was like the month
mhm,
of divorce or something, they said, like
yeah,
for
with
celebrities.
celebrity. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the summer of Barbie.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was between Leo and Virgo.
Mm-hmm.
So Venus was in its fall. Yeah. So I hate to be cliche, but there could be breakups this time, or you might just be, auditing your relationships in general, being
Mm-hmm.
like, do we align with our values?
Mm-hmm.
You know, do I want to be around these people anymore? You could be doing a lot of self-worth, self-confidence kind of work at this time. I wrote my book during the Venus retrograde in Capricorn.
Mm.
So it was a time where I was devoted to something that I wanted to like bring to fruition, you know?
Oh, that's beautiful. A creative
Yeah.
project. Maybe this
Yeah.
is when your next book comes out.
Maybe.
Mm.
I mean, yes, it's gonna
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's what we're calling it. I
Yeah.
think Venus retrograde is also a beautiful time. Venus also is our finances and our resources to get into boycotting, divesting,
Ooh.
right? Think about how you
Yeah.
spend your resources,
Mhm.
okay? After a year of boycotting slash divesting from Target and Amazon, I'm here to report it is a lot easier than you think it
Mhm.
might be.
It is.
Ordering directly from the companies that you would, whatever item you would get on Amazon, it just takes an extra like day or two. It really
Mhm.
gets here quick because the mail is quick. We live in 2025. And I
Absolutely.
remember when I started doing it, I was like, oh, I'm not going to get this cup or whatever it was for a
Mhm.
couple of weeks. Like a carrier pigeon's going to arrive. And, no, it really came. It came like it took an extra 2 days. It's not that bad. We're trading convenience for
Yeah,
community.
my whole thing is it's the best way, it's the best form of resistance because it's
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
And we have to stop feeding this capitalist machine.
So
And
this
for me,
is, yeah.
it's become so easy because I'm like, why would I want to give money to this awful, evil, demonic corporation
Hmm.
when I could give that same money to a small business owner? I really like BDS my entire life to the point where I'll ask a restaurant owner, are you like a part of at any level of your organization, do you support the Israeli apartheid?
Hmm.
Like I ask these things now. I call ahead of time
Hmm.
because that's just like you're not getting my money.
Yeah. Yeah. So thinking about that,
Yeah, I
making
would say
changes.
too. if you are a community organizer, you should form these groups together to do a general strike or do
Mm,
like community boycotting thing because the only reason why we haven't been able to do that in
mm.
the US is because we don't have a community system where we support each other financially. Like that's how the Montgomery bus boycott lasted so long, is because they were supporting each other while they were boycotting. So
Uh,
just some food for thought.
No, that's a really good call out because the Target boycott that was called
Mhm. Mhm.
by like the Black religious churches
Mhm.
in the South um, started during that Venus retrograde in Aries and Pisces. It
That's
started
true.
around that same time.
That's
And
true.
it has literally, I was looking this up just yesterday
Mhm.
for a class I was teaching, and it has cost the company billions of dollars,
Yes.
like 12
Oh,
billion in a
yes.
year.
That is yes.
So
And
it
the
works.
Venus retrograde in Leo was the writer's strike,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
SAG writer's strike.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the
So
perfect time.
it is.
Hmm. So on October 24th through the November 13th, we have our final retrograde, Mercury retrograde of the year in Scorpio.
Yeah, and this is interesting because it's starting out at 20 degrees, which is the exact same place in the sky where this one ends on
Hmm.
November 29th. So think about November 29th of this year, of 2025. Similar themes and topics might come up. Um, and it will bring you back to that Scorpio portion of 2025's retrograde, which ran from November 18th through the 29th. And it's also going to bring you back to 2018 retrogrades when we had Mercury retrograde in Scorpio as well.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Hmm.
It's like TBD
Well, and we're
till
having this kind of like double reemergence of 2018 because it was the nodal reversal of um,
right,
yeah, of the
right,
nodes in Aquarius and Leo as well. So there's
right.
definitely some themes picking up from that time period in your life. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, and what is that saying? Astrology doesn't repeat, but it rhymes.
right.
Yeah. Okay, so last one, December 13th, Jupiter will retrograde in Leo at 27 degrees. Wow, Jupiter gets really far too.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's gonna take you back to June 30th, which was the day that
Mhm.
Jupiter entered Leo. And again, it's gonna be this kind of like exclamation point. Um, my personal Jupiter retrograde reflection and something I noticed from this year, because Jupiter just went retrograde on November 13th, right, of this month, or
Yep.
the 11th.
Hmm.
Um, I have found that it's had me returning to goals, dreams,
Hmm.
priorities, things I believe in and care about.
Hmm.
Um, and revisiting those and like making them a priority. Like, for example, I am very passionate about the death penalty, and I
Hmm.
believe that we need to abolish the death penalty.
Hmm.
And I like have always been this way since I can remember. Like, we had this essay that we had to write when I was in sixth grade, and it was a persuasive essay, and you had to pick one side or the other. And I was like, no, no death penalty, no matter what the person did. Um, anyways, I've worked with an organization and I've interviewed like the executive
Hmm.
director of this organization, blah, blah, blah. But now I've started like making content and I'm going to help them
Yeah,
make
you're
content.
so good.
And, but it feels like this return, right? Of like something
Hmm.
that really matters to me that I lost my way from at some point.
Well, it makes sense where Jupiter is in your personal chart.
Right.
It's those topics.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was actually wondering if this Jupiter retrograde in Cancer brought you back to your childhood, even,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
because it's like Cancer. I felt like that. It like brought me back to because also Cancer is like past, you
Yeah.
know, you're thinking back to a past memory, and I felt like that. I felt different moments in this retrograde because also that Mercury in Sag was being ruled by that Jupiter. So I was thinking about so many different timelines of my past. And similar to you, I'm like, oh, maybe I should pick that up again. Like
Hmm.
playing piano. And like I used to take singing lessons. I used to do a lot of art. Oh my gosh, I was such a more well-rounded
You
person.
have a beautiful singing voice.
Oh my gosh.
You do. You really do. I'm ready for the pop content on TikTok.
Oh my
Get
gosh.
yourself a microphone.
I know I have to get out of my own head because I start thinking about it and that's when like I the voice starts to go away. But have you watched K-pop Demon Hunters?
No, but I want to. I've
Okay,
heard a lot.
so it is basically the main character, Rumi, starts to lose her voice because she doesn't accept that she's a demon. It's very deep. It's a very deep story. And I feel like that too. Like when I start singing, it makes me feel so good, but then I get in my head about it. I'm like, that sounds terrible. And then it starts to go away, my voice. It's crazy.
Okay, this feels like Jupiter in Leo in your ninth house, part of your story. It really does. We need to work on this and explore
Everyone's gonna
this.
be like, Stephanie, why'd you tell her that?
No, no, I've heard Laura sing, and it's a blessing from above, and the
Yeah,
world deserves it.
but ever since I took that social media break, I have time on my hands.
Hmm.
So now I've just been like playing piano again. I've been singing again. I've been doing all these things that I kind of put on the back burner. So this is all to say I've had a very similar experience to you.
Mm. Hmm.
Different topics though, obviously.
Yeah, but I think that what does that say? It says that this on December 13th, when Jupiter goes retrograde in Leo,
Hmm.
pay attention to the Leo section of your chart and whatever
Hmm.
your story has been regarding that area of your life and return to an old dream, something that used
Hmm.
to give you hope, something that used to
Hmm.
excite you, something that you believed in and really cared about.
Yeah, we're gonna have like a whole influx of pop stars.
Yeah, we might for sure. Oh my gosh. I think you just called it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, that is 2026 in a nutshell, but not
Yeah.
really. But we're gonna do our monthly forecasts. Maybe not February when the eclipse is happening on your on your Venus.
We'll see if I'm still with
TBD.
us. Just kidding. Just kidding. I'll
TBD.
still be here. That eclipse isn't taking me out. That's not how I'm going. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank
we
you for
will.
all of your support, everyone. Thank you. Like these monthly forecasts are my biggest downloads on my podcast, my channel. I think for you too.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
thank you
they're
for the support.
they're growing and growing, and we're just so grateful to have you all here. We love reading your comments, and yeah, we can't wait to see how this continues to grow and evolve in 2026. So thank you for your support.